Well, what is up, everybody? Another week of the Sports 2.0 Network golf show. Justin Onken here with Grant Bale.
What's up?
The Open Championship was exciting in the sense that the guys at the top were guys that we wanted to see, but Morikawa just slammed the door. Basically, the whole back nine didn't make a bogey on Sunday. Nobody really made a run. I guess Spieth was there, but I mean, he really killed himself with that shorty on 18 on Saturday afternoon, and just nobody ever came close. Morikawa just hit every iron shot like he wanted to, and it was over.
Yeah, we kind of got taught a lesson, not to take it for granted. I know he was young, and I know we talked about the comments a little bit about, him saying he didn't like how his irons responded to the ground over there in his past performance. He's an all-field player. If you ever watch the TaylorMade videos on YouTube, and if you haven't, I suggest that you should. He always talks about it on there. He talks about how he feels everything in his hands and his arms through his shot and through his like kind of like mid to upper body. And so he obviously fixed that feel issue. And when you have a guy as good as him, those are the results you can get. I think he gained like 2.5 or 3 strokes putting. And we've talked about this a million times. When he does that, he's going to be at the top or damn near the top every single time. And we're going to have to say goodbye to any big numbers on Cal Morikawa at big tournaments anymore, because those days are over.
Yeah, his shaky putting was keeping his number every now and then when he had a couple bad rounds in the mid-20s. That's gone. Hope you got in on a couple of his 5 wins while you could, because in majors and big events, we'll for sure not see him at anything below 20, I would guess. So we were on him a couple times. I was on him once when he missed every putt coming down the stretch to losing a playoff to Berger, so that's unfortunate. But, I looked at him, I saw the number, and I thought, man, that's a weird number. And then I saw him say my 8-9 in pitching wedge just wouldn't work in the grass. And I'm like, well, if you're going to switch 3 clubs out the week of the tournament, I'm less inclined to bet you. Turns out all he needed was a couple days, and he just dominated. I do think it would have been a little bit different had we had traditional Open Championship conditions with, wind and cool temps. I think that kind of played into some of the newcomer stuff for him, not having to deal with some of the stuff that requires more experience. But, I mean, he was just awesome the whole week, so he deserved it.
Yeah, I think we've seen this a lot of times where we expect certain things to happen, and then the weather doesn't quite cooperate, and all of a sudden it just turns into an approach contest. This has happened multiple times before, and we see it especially when these guys can stop the balls on the greens, and that was definitely the case. You saw that early Thursday morning, right off the bat. You're like, wow, these greens are holding pretty good. The wind wasn't that bad, and it just kind of turned into, like I said, the guys were pin hunting. And when the tournament turns into that, especially to add a level of the guys that you had on in the field this week, the guys who are the best at it are going to rise to the top. Louis obviously played so safe and was just hitting all kinds of greens and 2-putting constantly. So that was clearly what he did. And Spieth's the same way. Obviously, Spieth's approach is unbelievable, and his, throwing a little magic touch around the greens, and he's got those like long putts he can putt in. This is what happens. So, if we get conditions like this again, we should expect the same result.
Yeah, wasn't the greatest week for us picks wise.
Wasn't terrible.
Wasn't terrible. You did hit 2-stroke winner, which was nice. Had a chance at 3-stroke winner there a little bit down the stretch, but not a terrible week. We didn't get the weather we thought, so we will move on.
Yeah,
this
I think
week
we hit both of our best bets though, which is pretty notable.
Sergio did sneak in the top 20. It was right on the edge all day for me, and you hit.
I hit Berger, and I pushed a matchup, and we missed Victor by 1 placing, so that was the other one.
Yep. And honestly, my Cantlay-Bryson matchup was essentially one shot all day on Friday.
Right.
Cantlay got off to such a crappy start on Thursday that he just couldn't make the cut, and Bryson was flirting with missing the cut all day, made a couple birdies coming in. But that is what it is. This week, we're going to Minneapolis for the 3M Open. This is the 3rd year of this event. It used to be a Champions Tour event. Then the PGA Tour picked it up. It's at TPC Twin Cities resort style course. So some generous fairways out there, but a ton of water. I think water is actually in play on 13 holes and in play to a degree on 15 holes. That's basically the only trouble. This is a birdie fest, just like we've seen at the John Deere, just like we've seen at the Rocket Mortgage, some of these recent events. I actually think that's a pretty good comp for the types of guys you're looking for. Rocket Mortgage and John Deere, because we're talking about bent grass greens. We're talking about, you can hit driver if you want, but it's not really necessary. The course isn't so long that the Bombers are really going to have a humongous advantage. It's all about getting yourself in a position to hit your irons close, because you're going to have to shoot 20 under to win, maybe more. I mean, last year Michael Thompson shot 19, and it was pretty windy for a couple days. But first round leader the last 2 years have been 8 and 9 under. So it's all about getting irons close to the hole. So I wouldn't expect to see a lot of off the tee guys win because of that. They're going to still have to putt really, really good and hit their irons good to get up towards the top. But yeah, it's a birdie fest. I've been trying out some stuff with birdie fest. We'll see this week if we can dial it up.
Yeah, the water will be fun because that's pretty much a 2-stroke difference every single time, right? If you hit it in the water, so it'll be interesting to see that. If you have a guy that's on the line, he could even get helped by a guy in front of him that hits in the water, or you could have your guy hit it in the water. So let's try to avoid those this week. If anybody's been on the north side of Minneapolis, traveling or just even flying or anything, you look down, it's all water up there. Everything is just water. Every hole in the ground holds water. So that's gonna be the same here, right? Where all the defense is gonna be precision on and where you have to hit it, and if you hit it in the areas that you're not supposed to, you could be taking a drop.
Yeah. I think this tournament's equally difficult to predict is John Deere and Rocket Mortgage, just because putting is going to play a pretty big role. But looking at the stats, I do think you're going to have to be good with your irons. Everybody basically in the top 10 each of the last 2 years has gained a bunch on approach. Michael Thompson lost strokes off the tee last year and won this event. It was all irons and putting. The greens are some of the easiest to hit on tour. So I'm going to discount around the green. I'm actually going to go towards a couple guys who do everything good, but chipping and around the green. So I think that you're going to have to look for guys who can make a ton of birdies and kind of avoid the water. They know what they're doing to, hit driver where they need to, but, back it off, get it in the fairway, take advantage of their good iron play.
Yeah, I like ball strikers. We've talked about it. I've always hit on ball strikers in a lot of my bets, but it's not that you have to hit it far here at all, and it doesn't give a huge advantage, but there is the possibility that you can hit it far. So if you do hit it far, and that's your style of game, that's how you want to play and how you want to score, kind of like the Wolf when we saw him, is that he has that ability here. He's going to be pretty comfortable playing the style of game that he wants to play, and just kind of players like him. So I like that. Tony Finau, these are both guys who are probably going to be talked about here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Your first outright this week, Matthew Wolff.
Yeah, both of my outrights this week are numbers plays. When we talked about it, the numbers this week on the outright board are just not great.
It's a weird field. You've got DJ, Finau, Reed, Louis up top, and then the middle group of players who normally are in the 30, 40, 50 range are just not at this event. There's just none of them. So all the guys 30, 40, 50 there's not a lot of win equity there. Obviously somebody's got to win. So somebody's probably going to win on a pretty good number. But finding which guy is the one is going to be difficult. But Matthew Wolff.
Yeah, this is a number thing because I think of those top end guys, he's farther back than everybody at 30, and I don't think his form is that bad. Obviously he came back and he had couple of top 5 finishes. He was top 20 at the U.S. Open, another course where he could kind of, he could hit far, and also his approach was on fire, which is great. He won this event in 2019, like we just talked about. He got 12th last year, so obviously he likes the setup here and likes where he can land his driver and kind of have those angles to get into the green for him, because he's not only a big driver, but his irons are really good too. He's always been like that. And so this is a number play at 30-1. I think his upside is right there with a lot of those top guys. Obviously not DJ. DJ's way better than him, but those guys who are priced below him, I like the 30 number compared to all those guys as a huge upside play. He's got a pretty good putter too. He's a pretty good putter for a guys on tour. He's not going to wow you or do something crazy, but if he putts pretty really, on a higher above average, I would say for him, then he's going to be competing for sure. I'm kind of past the whole, big spell he had. So he performed, pretty good since then. I like him coming back, being confident, and I think he can compete here this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Wolff is not a guy I would want to put a lot of like top 10, top 20 bets on just because his variance is so high. But when he does show up, he can win any tournament. So I like the number in this field particularly. My first guy I'm going to go to is Cameron Tringali. He doesn't really fit what I always go to because he doesn't, he's not a big win equity guy. He doesn't win tournaments that often, but I kind of think he's due. He's had a really, really good season. His irons have been awesome. He popped number 1 in my model this week over the last 50 rounds. Top 25 in approach, really good around the green, top 20 in putting. He can make a ton of birdies. He's been popping up in these Birdie Fest style events, 14th at the Rocket Mortgage, which, like I said, I think I comp a little bit to this course in terms of what you have to do to succeed. He's a good bent putter. I just think that he's consistently been one of the better guys recently, and in this field at 31-1, I like quite a bit. He had a good showing here last year as well. He got third, so
yeah,
I'm going to kind of
right. I think he finished well the year
42nd the year before.
So
he just didn't putt great that year, but yeah. So I kind of like his trajectory. I think he's kind of due, and he can really, really make birdies.
Yeah, I love Tringali, that, and he was in my model on easy scoring relative to the other ones, relative to par. He stayed up there even then, so I like his ability to go low. Mix that with guys who can really putt on bait grass, like we talked about it. If you hit one of those times, then he's going to compete for the win. I would be really happy for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
my second.
No,
I'll go ahead. My second outright is a dart throw. I kind of don't know. We talked about the boards kind of off this week. It's kind of hard to find somebody. So I figured I'd give out somebody that's a little bit longer, that would be a good return and maybe an option for an each way bet. Adam Schenk, 100-1. He's been playing good golf. He popped 4th in my model over the last 36 rounds, and it's all approach and putting. Sat 22nd in approach, 26th in putting, 7th in opportunities gained, and 10th in birdies or better gained. So he's doing all the things that I want to see in a Birdie Fest style of event. He just popped and was kind of in contention at the John Deere, finished 14th, 15th last week at the Barbasol, which was a similar event in terms of got to make a ton of birdies in the Midwest on bent grass greens. At 100-1, it's a nice stab on a guy who's playing some really good golf on a course that fits his game. He doesn't hit it far. He's one of those guys that just places it around the course. And he's the type of guy who he sucks at chipping. Like, he sucks at chipping. So I like the fact that chipping is not going to matter as much this week because he should be hitting it like 75, 80% of greens, if not more, if he plays really well. So that kind of eliminates the worst part of his game.
Yeah, he officially has graduated from bad golf for the week now that you put him in your outright. So he passed the test. He passed the test. He moved up to the big leagues. I love it. He's been playing pretty well. We saw that whenever we bet him a couple weeks ago. So I'll be right there with him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Pat Perez at 80-1. This is another number play, just like I said, both of these guys are, because I really just didn't like the numbers when you got in, past 30 and pretty much past 30 to 100, right? But I kind of liked 80 with Pat Perez because he's also a good bent putter. Pat Perez has 3 career wins. He's a really good long iron player, which I really like this week, and you're going to see it in a couple other guys that I picked, is that his proximity from long ranges is pretty good, which I like because it's a 70, it's a little over 7,200 yards as a par 71 though. So I like those approaches coming in from like 175 to 200, and anything over 200 will be good with there. He's really good strokes gained par 5, which is another thing you have to score on the par 5s pretty much every single round here. If not, to
Yep.
have no chance keeping up with the leaders. I mean, it's hard to bet. It's hard to bet these numbers. But this guy's he's a proven winner. He's been on tour for a long time. I just hope we can kind of hit something where, it kind of pops like, oh, old man Pat Perez won, right? His bent
Yeah.
putting went crazy. His long iron approaches were on par. He didn't mess up any other things, and he kind of kind of lucked himself into a win. So I like the 80 number. I'm not really going to mess with that 50 to 60 to 70 range because it's just not really much in
Yeah.
it for me.
Yeah, I think one way to look at this is just throw a bunch of darts in the 80 to 120 range on guys who are capable of making a bunch of birdies, guys who
Right.
pop up in these type of events. That's a decent way to go this week.
Yeah, Pat Perez has 2 top 15s in his last 4 events too, so he's been playing decent.
Yeah,
And it's not like he can't win. It's more just about if he's going to need a little magic.
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, this has been the season of the old guys. The old guys have won a
Right.
lot of tournaments this year, so I like that a decent amount. Top tens this week. There's value in the sense that no one is really priced super, super low. You can kind of get good odds on anybody in the field.
Right.
But like I said, these events are crapshoots. There's going to be 3 guys in the top 10 who some people have never heard of in their life on Sunday, I would imagine, just because they get hot with the putter. But I found a guy that I like quite a bit, Tony Finau, plus 200. He played really nicely last week, 15th at the Open. He had missed a couple cuts before that, but before that, 32nd, 20th, 8th at the PGA. He does exactly what it requires here. He's a really, really good iron player, and he's one of those guys that's long, but he doesn't abuse his length. On the holes where you can't hit driver, he'll just hit an iron out there 270 or whatever he hits his driving iron, and still have those wedges in. He's a really, really good proximity player from 100 to 125, which there's a lot of those shots here. And 175 to 200, there's a lot of those shots here. He kills par 5s, which you have to do here. And his putter is usually the thing that kind of slows him down, but he's putts best on bent, and that's evident based on how he's finished at this tournament the last 2 years. Finished 3rd last year. He should have won this event. And he finished 23rd the year before that and gained a ton on approach. So I expect him to just kind of be in the mix the whole week. If he wins, that would kind of surprise me based on his track record. But he's either the guy who will be in 18th on Saturday, shoot a 65, finish 4th, or be in 1st, shoot a 70, and finish 3rd. That's kind of Tony Finau. But I like that top 10 number at 200, plus 200.
This was not a good weekend last year for the Tony Finau's not a choker people.
No, it was not.
It wasn't a good Sunday coming down for him, but he was right in the mix, and I like it too. I'm going to have him on my card also.
Yep, definitely.
I got Keegan Bradley, so this is an interesting play. It took some. I had to really look myself in the mirror before I wrote this down. Keegan Bradley top 10 at plus 350. I like the number, and I'm going to kind of go off what you said. Is that there's some ball strikers in this field that these top 10 numbers are pretty good because they don't really know how to price them because none of these guys are much different. So it's like you don't really know.
It's a weird field, yeah.
Right, you don't really know where to put him. So I like the 350. It's pretty good odds on a guy like him with the talent level that he has. Obviously, we've talked about it. His putting is just horrendous. But you just kind of have to get lucky where he doesn't really put himself out of it. But if he just stays kind of even, he's fine. He's really good when the scoring is easy when the scoring is easy. Sorry, but that's just another ball striker. I think a lot of ball strikers are like that. Because that's when like their skill level really starts to pop when you have like the field is weaker and the course is easier to get after. He's a good long iron player. Bent is his worst surface, if that makes sense.
He sucks on every surface, but Bent's the least sucky.
Right. So if we do have to get a chance where he's going to play decent, I guess Bent is the place where it could happen. When you're that bad at putting, it honestly probably doesn't matter, but it could just kind of happen anywhere. Hopefully he's contending and then he'll probably fall back. That's what I'm kind of hoping that what happens, that he kind of ball strikes himself into a contention, makes a shit ton of birdies in the beginning of the week. We'll probably see that and be like, oh, Keegan Bradley's in 2nd on Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he kind of plays himself out of it and gets like 358. Like that's what I'm really hoping for. I like the 350 Keegan
Yeah.
Bradley.
Yeah, I like Bradley a lot. He was like going to be a top 20 for me. In my article for Noob Sports this week, he was a top 20 for me. His ball striking floor is so high compared to a lot of the
Right.
players in this field that I'm willing to take the chance that he either putts awesome and contends for the win, or he putts like crap, and that's part of the Keegan Bradley experience.
Right.
I'm interested in your top 20 guy this week because he was somebody that popped up in my research, and I lose every time I bet him. So let's see what you have.
I got Doug Gim top 20. He's such a likable guy when you like see him on Twitter and interviews, and when you see him on TV, he's a very likable guy. He performs pretty well. Like he doesn't really contend ever. Um, but he's fun to watch, and he have that kind of likability to him. I got him at 2-1 for his top 20. He's another good long iron player, which I like here. He'll be comfortable not only using long irons off E, but also approaching into these greens, which are pretty easy to hit. He got top 20 last year, so I like that of him coming in with a little bit of confidence, being able to say, hey, this field isn't like going to really overpower me, so I have a chance to really compete with these guys this week. His approach at the John Deere was unbelievable. It was like crazy, crazy high, which I like that. If his confidence is going to be really high with his approach, and I think that should go right into this event. He was number one in proximity from 175 to 200. In my model, he was top 10 in ball striking, greens, approach, opportunities, gains. Also, he's made 3 straight cuts, so he's in pretty good form for Doug Gim. Like you said, sometimes he's kind of hit or miss, but I like Doug Gim this week in the strength of the field and his ability to approach his way into a top finish.
Yeah, my thing with Doug Gim has always been he pops all the time in my model, and then he finishes 40th, or he doesn't make the cut somehow. It's like he's kind of like Doc. Like Doc would always pop in my model, and I go and look at his finishes, and he has like no good finishes. And it's like, well, I don't understand how you're popping in my model when you have no good finishes. But he does have a few top 20s this year. This is kind of a field that I'd rather bet him in a field like this, especially when it's going to be a ball striking premium week. Yeah, I don't mind it at all. And my guy is of similar amount of skill. He's just way hotter right now than Doug Gim. Hank Lebiota, 3 straight top 10s. 8th at the John Deere, 4th at the Rocket Mortgage, 5th at the Travelers, all tournaments where you have to make a ton of birdies. He has been putting absolutely lights out. These are his last 5 tournaments putting. 5.1 gained, 6.1, 5.8, 3.8, 2.8. That's unbelievable. That's 4 top 20s and a 31st where he lost 3 on approach. He's been good on approach. He's gained in 5 of his last 6. He's gained around the green in 6 of his last 7. He doesn't hit it far, which won't matter here. He's all irons and putting, and I think that's kind of the recipe to succeeding in these birdie fest events. It's just get the ball in play and hit your irons right at the hole and make as many putts as you can. He's 10th in approach over the last 36, 9th in putting, 14th in birdies or better gained, 10th in proximity from 100 to 125. It makes total sense for him to just stay super hot. He's a good bent putter. It's his best putting surface. So at plus 210 for a top 20, after he's just top 24 of his last 5 in a crappy field, I kind of think they mispriced him a bit, but you can't really price him to win because he has never really contended.
Yeah, I like these guys who you can ride their hot form, especially when they go into these events with the field isn't crazy strong.
Definitely.
I think when you play a little harder events with bigger names in the field or guys who are just way better, it's hard to really ride that form because at the end of the day, you just don't have the skills to keep up. So, but when you have that confidence and you have the form of being like, hey, I can compete in this event. These are events that I have to score in if I want to keep playing, my career on the PGA Tour. I really like that for guys like him because they know that these are their chances and that they're going to really try to attack it. So, and like
Definitely.
you said, there's not much more to say. His form is unbelievable, and I bet him like a couple weeks ago, and I think I lost his matchup, and he still finished like 8th or something, or he finished like 10th or 12th, and I still lost. So, he's been playing well for us, and I'll be right there on the top 20.
Yep, definitely. Matchups this week, there were not a lot offered. I do think there are some
No.
decent ones out there. I'm gonna bet Lanto Griffin over Dylan Fratelli. I'm aware that Dylan Fratelli finished fifth last week. I could not care less. Before last week, he
He was
had
bad.
top 30, one top 45 finish since last November. And he missed like every single cut. He missed like 10 out of 15 cuts, something like that. He basically just never made the cut. He sucked in every category. He's a horrible putter. Last week, to me, it's just a fluke. Like, I doubt he just went from missing 6 of his last 7 cuts to finishing fifth. Because he just found something on the range. He's been putting horrifically. Bent's his worst putting surface. Lanto's a pretty consistent type guy. He's a good bent putter. He's a good putter in general. He's made 4 straight cuts with 3 top 35s. I'm not looking for Lanto to just like go out and dominate. I would just expect Fratelli to miss the cut for, the 80% time that he does, because that's what he does. He just misses all the cuts. So I like that they're going to give us that straight up versus a guy who has basically sucked for a year.
Yeah, I was doing my research, and I usually start by looking at the previous leaderboards, and I saw Fratelli's name on there. And the first thing I thought was, damn, he just finished like top 5 at the Open, right? Let's go look at him. And I pulled up his finishes, and I immediately just X'd out. I was like, no chance. There's no way I'm getting back on that, because it was so bad. I could not understand
He's
how he
missed
played so good. I
he's,
did not understand
he's
it.
missed 11 out of 14 cuts before last week. 11 out of 14. And his finishes were 46th, 56th, and 22nd, where he gained 6 around the green. So he's been horrific.
Yeah, so bad. And this tournament is so much different than what he just played in. So I agree with you.
That
I'm
was
not
the other
taking.
thing, is that
Yeah,
there's no correlation between
no,
Royal St. George's and TPC Twin Cities. So
no.
I love to get the even money on a fade of a guy who's played so bad.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna piggyback off what you said with Tony Finau, and I'm gonna take a high end matchup, which I don't really do that much, as I don't really take the good guys against the good guys. But Tony Finau over Patrick Reed at -114. So Tony Finau, he got 15th at the Open, so that's whatever. We just talked about how it doesn't correlate, but that's fine. He played okay. His approach numbers at the 3M specifically are insane. It's like 5 strokes and like 7 strokes. It's something
That was
crazy.
like 9. He gained 9 last
Yeah,
year.
9, something nuts. So I was like, okay, yeah, there's something there that's like he's good at these shots. If he continues that and gains off the tee, specifically if he like is pretty good off the tee, I think it'll all depend on putting. If he putts well and does that, he'll probably win, which will be crazy. But if he doesn't putt well, it'll be more of like he'll probably just contend and then drop off or do whatever he does.
Yeah.
But I like his floor over Patrick Reed's. I don't like Patrick Reed in an event like this. I know he can go low. I understand that. But I don't think an Iron Fest is really where he's gonna like strive and try to like beat out everybody. He has the talent, right? I'm not gonna sit here and talk about how bad Patrick Reed is, because Patrick Reed's awesome and I bet him constantly to win tournaments. But his form is okay. It's pretty good. I don't trust his long irons. I just don't think this is a tournament where he'll really like go out and really try and really succeed. I like Tony Finau better. -114 at a guy who I think is going to be right there in that top 10 range is an easy matchup bet for me.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. You're going back to the regular 1 and 2 stroke margin this week.
Yeah, we hit it last week. We switched up, went 2 to 3, which we would have hit at 1 to 2, right? But we still had that cushion because it almost finished 3, which was we were together watching the ending this weekend. I was like really excited we were going to hit 3.
Yeah.
But we didn't. I liked the coverage that we had, but we didn't. But it's still winning, right? I think if these bets have been hitting like crazy. I think we lost 2 in a row, and that's it.
Yeah.
All the other ones have hit. So I'm going to go back to 1 and 2, 225 and 350. This is another event where this is just. I mean, you're in the real heart of the PGA Tour, right? You watch these events, you really start to understand like who these guys are, and the type of unknown golfers, not the superstars or the big guys. So majority of the time, 1 and 2 stroke hits. I'm going to keep it going, and that's all we have.
Yeah. Plus, these Birdie Fest events, there's been like a ton of guys all bunched up at the top, and we've seen 3 playoffs now, because Barbasol last week was a playoff. I mean, we're probably not getting another. We're probably not getting a fourth playoff in like 5 weeks. Hopefully, knock on wood.
Yeah,
so
knock on wood.
I like going back to it. Just keep riding that. And I may have to switch my bad golfer I'm betting this week to unknown golfer I'm betting this week, because a lot of times I end up with the unknown guys. This week is Mito Pereira. He was playing on the Korn Ferry Tour all year and kind of whooping ass. Mito Pereira. He just got his tour card because he won 3 times on the Korn Ferry Tour. He won 2 in a row on the Korn Ferry Tour in June to get his card. So he recently just got over on the PGA Tour, missed the cut at the Rocket Mortgage, but then 34th at the John Deere and 5th at the Barbasol last week. And he gains like crazy off the tee and on approach. I like that for this course because he should be able to just keep the Birdie Fest vibes rolling. Clearly, he's good. He won 3 times on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's the first guy, I think, out of this class of players to win 3 times and get the automatic exemption on the PGA Tour without having to wait till the end of the season. Right. And clearly, he's playing well. He just won twice last month, and he finished 5th last week. And you can still get pretty good odds on him. I wish I would have caught up to him to bet him at the Barbasol last week, because you probably would have had pretty good odds before he really popped on the PGA Tour. But plus 225 for a top 30, I don't think he's going to be, some of these guys come up from the Korn Ferry and they're a little bit starstruck, I guess, or just, intimidated by the PGA guys. He clearly is not. He's took 1 week to kind of get his feet wet, and then he's been super the last 2 weeks. The only thing is he is scheduled to play in the Olympics for Chile next week. So I hope he's not blowing it off because he knows he's got to go over there. But I mean, he's playing really well, and he needs all the starts he can get under his belt, and put some cash in his pocket. So I like top 30 plus 225.
Yeah, I think the cash thing is actually is a bigger deal than we probably think, especially with guys like this. They're not going to blow off an event where they think they can finish high, because these guys are not getting huge paydays like the big PGA Tour guys are that you see. So
definitely.
If they have a chance to finish high, if they have a chance to get $100,000, imagine what that would do to a guy who's been, living off Subway and traveling to Springfield, Illinois to go to Korn Ferry events, right? So
right.
I like the motivation that's there. We just attended a Korn Ferry event. We kind of have that little Korn Ferry juice flowing. I like it. We saw a course record and what was it, minus 27 won the event. So that was
something crazy.
That was crazy, but I like it. I'm gonna be watching Mito. It's my first time watching him, because I didn't watch any of the Barbasol last week, but I'll be excited.
Yeah, if the Korn Ferry guys, I like when they come over and play events that are similar to Korn Ferry events where you just have to make a ton of birdies. He has no problem just birdieing every hole.
Right.
So I like that part of it as well.
And that fits with the TPC vibe. I mean, if you played TPC, these are not I don't want to say that, but the TPC courses are gettable for good golf players, especially ones like this, and you'll see it in the scoring. So if he can kind of come over, put himself in a similar situation that he's already used to with Korn Ferry events, I like it.
Definitely. Well, best bets. It was I kind of copped out on mine, but I just have a feeling for this week. I'm going DJ top 10 plus 138. I know those odds suck on a top 10, but I think DJ is going to run amok. I think he's just going to smoke everybody. This is the event last year where he had played really bad and then came to this event, shot an opening round 80 and withdrew. And then we saw him just rip off 5 wins or 4 wins in the next 4 months after that. I think he's got a little unfinished business here. He's starting to play better. He had kind of went on a little slow streak, at least for DJ. Missed a couple cuts, didn't play great. Last 4 weeks, 10th at Palmetto, 19th at the U.S. Open, 25th at the Travelers, and then 8th last week. And honestly, if it wasn't for Saturday, he might have been in the John Rahm, not really in the mix, but can get in the top 5 category. But he played bad Saturday. So I like his trajectory. And this is the exact type of course where DJ can just bomb driver because he's so straight with his driver and just hit wedge after wedge after wedge. And he's a good bent putter. He's got a bunch of wins on bent grass. I can just see the scenario where it's like last year at Northern Trust when it's like, oh shit, DJ just shot 30 under for the week and nobody could touch him. He wins a lot. Like he wins like twice every year, and he hasn't won since last November. It's coming. I promise you it's coming. He's going to win eventually here, and I think it's this week.
If you put a good DJ on a course like this,
we saw what can happen.
The literal number is unlimited. Like he might literally birdie every single hole. Like he's that good compared to the guys he's playing against in the hole setups that he's gonna have this week. If he putts well and he does play well, like we talked about just a second ago, I mean the number he could win at is way up there.
We saw it last year at Northern Trust. I mean, he won by like 10 and shot like 30 under for the week. He's got all the game. He's trying to get geared up for the playoffs too. He's not going to Tokyo to play in the Olympics next week. This is one of those events. The only reason he's here is to like win. He doesn't care about anything else because he's going to take a couple weeks off probably before he starts really playing the playoff events. I think he's here to like exercise some demons. I mean, because it was really bad showing. And if he gets it going, like he can get it going, it's a wrap. You can call it on Thursday. If he comes out and shoots like 64, 65 on Thursday and backs it up, the other guy should just go home.
I hope he wins by 2 strokes if he does. I hope it's 28.
Same. Yeah, I hope so too.
I'm going to go a little different, right? This guy is not as good as Dustin Johnson. Maybe this week he is. I don't know. But
he's 100 behind DJ every hole.
I'm going to go Ryan Armour top 30 plus 188. The number 188 isn't great, but I think top 30 is fine. I consider doing top 20. I think the number was like 250 maybe. But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to doing that either. But I'm okay with 188 top 30 because some of these guys like they kind of hover in that 35 to 20 range. It's kind of hard. Like at the end of the day, like are you gonna get dead heated like crazy? Is he gonna finish 22nd? Is he gonna finish 28th? Like you never know. I like the top 30. It's the plus money. Ryan Armour has gained over 2 strokes on approach both tries here at the 3M. He got top 5 last week at the Barbasol. We haven't hit Barbasol too much besides what you talked about earlier. But a couple of these guys did play, and he played well, which is nice. He performs better at courses that have easy scoring. Ryan Armour, like you said, he's not gonna hit it crazy far, but he's gonna do the right thing. He's gonna perform well in Birdie Fest. He's a good long proximity player, and 5 of last 6 events he's been gaining on approach. So I'm gonna kind of take the kind of safe older guy and just hope he kind of performs well. And I like the top 30 on Ryan Armour.
Yep, don't hate that at all. He'll be in the fairway and be on the green a lot. So in a Birdie Fest, you just want to give yourself as many looks as you can. It'd be hilarious to see him and DJ play together because I literally think DJ can hit it 100 yards past him.
I was just about to say, imagine on Saturday when they get paired up together, we can like tweet out the photo of like their driver, like the lines going down the hole on their drives because it'll be so far apart.
I just remember a couple years ago, you sent me a screenshot of him barely getting it to the fairway in Detroit, and I was like, he hit that like 260. Like he may be in the bottom 5 on driving distance on tour, but he's straight and he hits greens and he's a pretty good putter. So there's a reason he's been on tour for a long time, and it's because he tops 30s. Yeah. He gets enough points to get in the top 125 every year to keep his card, make some money. This is just what Ryan Armour does, especially in fields like this.
Right. These are the events that guys like that can perform well because they don't make mistakes, and they have all these other guys who like kind of make mistakes or shaky here and there. They just do what they do. He's going to be in the fairway and he's going to hit it on the green. That's just what he's going to do over and over and over again every day. So I like kind of his floor like we talked about. And in a field like this, I'm going to time to take a disciplined guy like him.
Yeah, and it's nut crunch time for getting in the top 125 on the FedEx Cup standings. So I don't know where he stands right now, but I would guess there's a chance he's around the cut. So this is one of those events where he's got to be focused and have a good week. So, well, good luck, everybody. on your bets this week. Shout out Allison for producing this show every week.
Yeah.
We never shout her out, but I produced this show for 1 week when nobody was around. It was bad. You can go check out that episode. It wasn't very good. So shouts to her for doing that, so I don't have to.
Best Olympic
so good luck
coverage at Sports 2.0.
Yeah, and check out. She's got a podcast for Sports 2.0. Check it out, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.